Welcome back to Coast Vue. Listen, I sincerely enjoyed that conversation with Abby. It's just great to hear conversations with people who are so doggedly determined to see their visions become a reality. That's the story of entrepreneurship in coastal Mississippi, and I think she sort of personifies this thing that I've said 1,000 times, that when you literally cast your vote when you spend your money locally for the kind of community you want to have, and when you spend money with someone like Abby, you're making a tremendous statement. And she's very aware that in order for her to win against the Amazon, she's got to find her competitive advantage. And to hear her talk about what it is and how she does it, if you listen to this on the radio, you should go watch it on Facebook or YouTube. And I would encourage you to share it with your friends, because it's just one of those inspiring stories that is a exclamation point on the topic of spending your money locally. Speaking of entrepreneurship and dogged determination, I get to shift gears now, move over to my friend Matt McDonnell, who is the executive director for the Mississippi Coast Coliseum and Convention Center. Look forward to getting an update from him. But how you doing, Matt?
We're doing good, man. We're painfully trying to work through all the infrastructure improvements and rehabilitation that's going on in West Biloxi, but we'll survive it and we'll keep going, and hopefully these improvements will make our world even better here in West Biloxi.
Well, I want to come to that, and the timing might have worked for you, but still it's somewhat painful. Listen, the last time I saw you was during the Judd concert, and while I was there, your son stuck his head in the door, and I got to meet him. Terrific young man. But since then, you have identical twin grandkids now.
Twin grandsons. I was very, very blessed to have a son and a daughter-in-law that have good genes, and they have produced two beautiful twin boys, and I'm looking forward to when they're running around and I can bring them to events here at the Coliseum.
And that's so exciting. Congratulations, man. I mean, my first grandkid, and now we have four, but I mean, it's a game changer. It's just, it changes the meaning of life.
Yeah. A twofer on my first go round was, unexpected, but pleasantly a wonderful surprise. And so they wanted to know what they were going to call me. I said, well, that ought to be pretty easy. Just call me BOGO. Buy one, get one.
I love that. That might stick, though. It might stick. But it was good to see your son. And after all the challenges he's had since his accident, it was great to see him hopping around. And
yeah, he's doing much better. And his world has gotten busier, but he's doing really, really good. And you know what? It just took a lot of time and a really, really smart, talented surgeon to get him back to where he can function normally. And that's really all that we ever wanted.
I really enjoy getting to know him. He's got a great personality, and you can tell he's just a good kid. I mean, at the core, he's a good person. So anyway, you mentioned all the refurbishment in the city that's happening around the Coliseum currently. I would say, thank goodness you haven't had one of these $1 million concerts during this, but so timing worked for you. But it's still a pain, though, isn't it?
Well, we have hockey on a regular basis that we have to service. We have events going on in the convention center every weekend. We work through it. We work around it. It just takes good communication, whether it's on our website or social media, conveying it to clients where they can notify their registrants, their people that are attending their functions. So, it is what it is, and it'll make West Biloxi better when it's finally finished. And it's been a long time coming. So sooner or later we had to deal with it. So we're dealing with it now.
Yeah. And you got some construction of your own that's happening down in the southwest part of your parking lot, or what will be part of that. How's that progressing?
That was the old Holiday Inn site that we purchased in 2014. And that seems a long time ago, but I was very proud of the fact that we paid that off with the money that we generate from operating this building. So when we would have any surplus or profit years, we would put money aside. When the city of Biloxi needed to buy right away from us, we utilized that money to pay down the loan. We did a tower lease on a cell site that we own the dirt on, and we use that money to pay down the loan. And as of February of 2022, we were debt free, and that's a really good feeling to know that everything you're making can go back into running the operation, paying your people a good wage, and making improvements to the facility. That's the key. You got to keep making improvements, and we've got more improvements coming. A lot of it's through the help of Tate Reeves and the Restore Act funds, but some of it is just the fact that we're generating revenue, positive revenue that we can reinvest back in the building.
Yeah, for people who have not heard us talk before, not to bore people who have heard us discuss this before, but the charter of the Coast Coliseum is unique in that they don't if they're not doing well, they don't have a bunch of tax dollars that come running in to rescue them. They have to run it like a business. So they're very entrepreneurial in the way they do it. And what he just said about
when you say a bunch of tax dollars, we have zero tax dollars,
right?
Zero coming in to run the building. Now,
Zero.
But in all fairness, we do get a piece of the hotel tax to pay off the bonds, but that runs through the county because the county, Harrison County, issued those bonds, so we never see that money. But a piece of the hotel tax pays off the bonds that built the expansion to the convention center.
But in terms of the daily and annual operation of that facility, it's about making revenue and controlling expenses and making whatever surplus you have. And as you just pointed out, when there is profit, you're being smart about it and paying off debt, and you're debt free. But you're extraordinarily entrepreneur. In that way, you're a lot like Abby that we just talked to. She's got a small business. She's got to worry about all these kind of basic things. You got to do that too. And through the pandemic and all other challenges that you had, you stayed focused on how do we stay whole. And you've been extremely innovative. But as you pointed out, and as I've seen with my own eyes, the kind of infrastructure improvements that you continue to make this facility competitive with other facilities that there are certain things that acts require. And if you don't have those things, you're probably not going to book some of the concerts that he's getting. And, just staying focused on what those needs are and what those infrastructure needs are and what your capital investments are going to be. That's key to your success, isn't it?
Well, and it's not just what the artist needs, but we also have to look at what the people that are buying the tickets need. And we've really focused more on safety in light of the world that we currently live in and how it's regressed, I'll say, to a certain degree in many aspects concerning people respecting other people. We have to spend more money now on security cameras and on equipment to be able to make sure that we don't have any weapons of mass destruction, bombs, automatic rifles, large knives, those kind of things that are getting into the facility that could be utilized to hurt someone. If people don't feel safe, they're not coming. We're about to undertake a project in 2023, once we complete the parking lot, where we will upgrade all of the exterior lighting to include all parking lots, all of the facades, and add additional security cameras throughout the entire exterior grounds of the Coliseum. Because if an incident happens, we want to A, take corrective action, and B, if somebody has been injured or property has been damaged or stolen, we want to help that party recover that and make them whole to the extent that we can. And security cameras very seldom lie. I've never seen one that lied.
Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's great. It's great that you see that. I got to see the care that you take to make sure the floor is safe during a concert, to make sure that people are coming into the facility in a way that they can be no harm to others. And I know it really is. I mean, since the event, as you pointed out, in Las Vegas occurred, it really has changed your world, hasn't it?
It has, and it's other things. I mean, there are events that I would probably wish that I could go back and do a little different that we've done over the years, or some events that I'd like to think about bringing here to the facility. But on the other hand, we got to be careful that we can handle all of the aspects of it, not just the production or the staffing, but also the safety factors that have to go in when you think about those types of events that bring a little different type of crowds into the venue. But we continue to try to keep the building updated and modern. It's a 45-year-old facility. They're tearing buildings down all over the country that are newer than we are. I mean, we opened in 1977. We've had several expansions with our convention center, one in 97 and then another one in 2009. But all of that being said, we're going to keep the 45-year-old arena rolling. And with just a little more help, we've got some really creative innovations that we're hoping to add in the next 18 to 24 months that are going to get us up to the level even of the Smoothie King in certain ways.
Well, what's interesting about this facility, and we'll move on and take a break and come back on the other side and talk about the year to come, but is that the bones are pretty good. And what you've been able to do is kind of make some adjustments to it, to modernize it. And it's still a facility that people can really enjoy themselves at, and that's the good news. It still fits your needs. Hey, when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Matt McDonnell, the executive director of the Mississippi Coast Coliseum and Convention Center. See you after this. Welcome back to Coast Vue. Really enjoying my conversation with Matt McDonnell. I really admire him and his team. I always have, but after I went over to the Coliseum and spent the better part of a day with him and his team to understand sort of the behind-the-scenes view of what they do, I even have more appreciation for them now. What they have to say grace over is quite incredible, really, to be honest with you. And I think it's a gem in coastal Mississippi that we too often take for granted. It's there. It's been there for so long. It runs sort of like a sewing machine, so we don't pay much attention to it until we want to go there and enjoy an event. But the collection of things they have to say grace over on any given day, the enormous amount of planning that it takes to attract some of the talent that they bring here for us to enjoy. It's just cool to see it, and we're lucky to have Matt as the leader of that effort and his immediate team. They do a great job. Matt says, you think about the coming year as we kind of wind down this year. Looking back on this year, first of all, it was a record year, wasn't it?
It was the best we've ever had. 45-year history of the building, the number of shows, the size of the shows, the number of different events, the number of people that came to the facility. All the numbers were big. The revenue was big. And you know what? It was fun. It was a lot of work, and we had to really stretch because we're still understaffed. At one time, we had 29 full-time employees. Right now, we're 24, and eventually we'll build back up. But we're to the point where we learn how to do more with less, and we're going to be very selective of the team members that we bring on, because it's not just about what you know on any given trade skill. It's also about the chemistry that we have as a small operating unit, and the weird hours and the weird circumstances that we have to deal with. So when we add a team member, we do our best to make sure that not only do they have the skill set, but they also have the right chemistry.
I love the point about chemistry. Again, I got to see that with my own eyes, but you're right. When you do a job like you guys have to say grace over, it can be long hours, especially when there's a concert, days leading up to it, during the event itself and the breakdown and all that. You have to have people to understand that. They understand that goes with, and not only understands it, but thrives in an environment like that. Well, there's no room for drama, is there?
Not only being able to thrive, but really look forward to coming in each day. I mean, the curveballs that we get that we have to adjust on the fly, those aren't fun. And we grin and bear it, and we get through it. And then we talk about how do we keep that from happening. And sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. We get through it. But 2023 is going to be a challenging year from the standpoint that I don't know how we come back and hit the numbers we did in 2022. That being said, though, we're going to start out a little bit slower in the first quarter of 2023. And it's not anything that we've done or that we're not doing. It's just the cycle that the touring talent is in and where they are in certain parts of the country. So the number of large shows are going to be a little bit smaller in the early part of the year. But when we get into April all the way till the end of 2023, our touring schedule is going to be as strong, if not stronger, than what we had in 2022. just that we're chopping 3 months out of it to where we don't get as much activity. We do have activity. It's just not quite as brisk as the activity we had last year.
Well, they came out of the gate after COVID, and again, the business model for artists, as you and I have discussed before, it's changed dramatically. So much more of their overall revenue stream comes from concerts. So they came out of the gate out of COVID, and they had a very aggressive touring strategy. This is true for just about every major artist, isn't it?
It was, and there was a lot of traffic that you had to manage where you didn't have promoters stepping on each other. Because the last thing that we want to do is settle a bad date. Settling a bad date is not a fun day at the office. When everybody's making money, it's usually a fun day. When people are losing money and the show's not performing well, the artists aren't thrilled to have to do it. The building certainly has to do the same amount of work, and the promoters that are losing money, they are none too happy either. But we've had very, very few of those and almost none in 2022. And we try to avoid shows that are super risky and that have that kind of downside. Sometimes we have to do them, and sometimes we make winners out of them. But most of the time they're marginal and they still require a lot of work.
So who are some of the acts you've already got booked?
Well, we've got Thomas Rhett on sale. That's a July play, but he's already on sale. Big country act. We just announced our Crawfish Music Festival lineup for April. So that's 3 solid days of live entertainment outdoors. We have a heavy metal, kind of hard edge rock and roll show coming in February with Papa Roach. It's on sale. We're going to bring CPR Fest back. It looks like on April the 8th. We believe we have the artist confirmed. We're not ready to announce that yet. That'll be your sidekick, Kenny Vest, that'll control all of that. So we know that that's coming in. We've got Cat Williams, a really funny comedian that'll be here in February. And more to come. I mean, it's just a matter of when we're able to release them and get them on sale. Another big country act coming in June that we're going to announce middle of January and go on sale. So just more stuff coming.
It's exciting. Look, Thomas Rhett, I had the opportunity to meet him in Alabama when he was up and comer, and it was clear that he was going to be a great success in the years to follow. You know where he is today. So that ought to be a greatly successful show. We're out of time, but listen, man. Congratulations on an amazing 2022. And I know that there's going to be some challenges in 2023, but I bet when we're talking at the end of 2023, it will have been a great year for you guys because you're a good leader and you got a great team. So have a great one, buddy. And Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to y'all. Kyle, thank you for all the work you do behind the scene, brother.
You bet. Thank you.
You bet. For you, 100%. Have a great day and we'll see you tomorrow.
All righty.